Well, it took 18 innings and it is 3 a.m. on the East Coast. And here your
3:05.
girls are, 3:05 to be specific. Hi, everyone. Welcome into the Why Am I a Mets Fan
This
podcast.
is so insane. Like, what are we doing?
That's Ashley Wenskoski. I'm Samantha Croston. We're two Syracuse-based sports reporters coming to you live after the Dodgers just took game three of the World Series 6-5 in an 18 inning classic. Hi.
Instant reaction. First of all, I think that was the best baseball game I've ever watched in my life, and I challenge something to top it. Second of all, it's 3:05 a.m. on the East Coast. Just want you all to know I stayed at work at the office anticipating to do this from about the hours of 11:30 to 1:30. Finally called it quits, came home. Now it's 3:05. Yeah, the Dodgers pull it out. They win game three. I said during this, and I'm gonna stick by this. I think whoever won that game was gonna win the is gonna win the series. I think there's no way if you're the Blue Jays, you can come back from that crushing of a defeat. I mean, both of those teams just gave that game every single thing that they had in the tank and then 5% more.
Every single ounce. And it's just funny. I'm looking at the score right now when the runs were actually scored. I mean, legitimately, there was not a run scored from the eighth inning until the 18th inning. It's like every single, I understand that both teams are gassed, but it is just a different feeling being that gassed, going to sleep late at night and knowing that you got the win versus being that gassed and now the next day, well, you know what I mean? You had to climb an uphill battle again. It is so defeating. I imagine, you know?
A dagger if you're the Blue Jays. On the
Yeah.
other hand, if you're the Dodgers, I mean, no better person to finally break it and hit it over the wall than Freddie Freeman. If it had to end, I wanted it to be Freddie Freeman. They're showing his dad in the stands. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just texted you this. I teared up. Like that was so special. I'm not even a Dodgers fan. Everybody knows that. The name of the podcast is Why Am I a Mets Fan? I literally was gonna start crying if they kept Freddie Freeman's father on the screen for longer than 2 seconds. What a moment. I believe the broadcast flashed a little graphic that said he's now the only player ever to have two walk-off Grand Slam home run moments.
It
Not
was
Grand Slam, not Grand Slam. So sorry, it's 3 a.m.
That's it. It's 3 a.m. It was storybook. No, literally, like my computer, like the fan is on and running. I'm like, girl, we're both tired. It's me and the computer out here
Mhm.
and just needing more sleep. But like honestly, I really do. I feel like storybook. I mean, from, Clayton Kershaw going in there at some point, from freaking Yamamoto in the damn bullpen, which we're going to talk about. But beyond all of that, it being Freddie Freeman again, not to mention with Joe Davis on the call, it was just as good as it gets. It's what baseball's all about. And honestly, there was a time there where I was really feeling like, is this game ever going to end? So the fact that it was Freeman of all people, this it's the exact reason why I told you guys weeks ago that there was a 75% chance that the Dodgers were going to win a World Series. Because you could just see this coming, in my eyes.
Baseball's such a beautiful sport. Listen, I know it got a little dicey there at the end. It's 3 a.m. We're in the 18th inning. But if you didn't enjoy almost every second of that game, then you're not cut out for this. Somebody at like 11:45 walks in at work, at the news station where we work, just got off the 11 o'clock news, whatever. Somebody walks in there, go, oh, like Travis Kelce, he dropped an interception. And I was like, Travis Kelce's playing tonight? If you're watching Monday Night Football, I can't even help you, okay? Like, that's ridiculous.
The
Um,
Chiefs of all,
I
no,
was like,
pass.
wait, what? What? Anyway, no, this game was so, I don't even know where to start. I mean, Ohtani gets on base like 8 times. That's a record in a postseason game. In any game, it might as well be a record. That's like you could get on base 8 times and it would be a good series. At some point, they just stopped pitching to him. Then I almost freaked out there at the end in like the 17th inning because they finally do pitch to him. I was like, oh my God, the Blue Jays surrendered, but it was fine. Um, I mean, the intentional walks, just the very sight on the broadcast of Yamamoto getting up to come into the game. The guy threw 105 pitches yesterday. I guess 2 days ago at this point because it's after midnight. But like, what are you talking about? Yamamoto's gonna come into the game. Like, first of all, when they said on the broadcast that Dave Roberts might bring in a position player, I was like, well, don't do that. You can't do that. You have to do anything but do that. But like, how about Blake Snell, for instance? Like, it really was honest to God gonna be Yamamoto.
No, I mean, he was literally warming up. Well, let's just take a beat on both the things that you said. Okay, so Freeman, we recap that. Absolutely incredible.
Incredible cinema.
Ohtani, insane again. I mean, four at bats, 3 runs, 4 hits, three RBI, 2 home runs. I actually didn't even realize he had 2 home runs. What? And then yeah, like you said, they literally just freaking at some point they're like, you know what, we should probably intentionally walk him. And you know what? I'm sure that's a part of the reason why this game lasted 18 innings. But the kind of stuff like he's doing night in and night out is why I feel like we said even a few games ago, like, listen, I'd be the first person to tell you that he's had a couple really good playoff games from a hitting standpoint, but they haven't all been that way. But it's like if he's trouble, like your entire team is in trouble. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like the whole game's different.
then they start intentionally walking Mookie Betts too. It's like, come on, guys, you got to pitch to somebody. Like, I get it. You don't want the game to end with one swing, but that's what happened anyway. Because if you all recall, a few innings earlier, they intentionally walked both Ohtani and Betts to get to Freeman, who didn't have the moment then, but then did a few innings later. Like, it's just so crazy. And obviously, Freeman hasn't even been having really a great postseason, I would say, by his standard. He tied it up with the RBI single earlier in the game to make it 4-4, but that was like his second hit of the postseason. So it's just so crazy. It's so unpredictable. I was taking notes as this game was going on because I like to just jot down like reaction points in the moment as I'm watching. But none of this even matters anymore, right? Because anything that even happened before extra innings started is just like we all forgot about it because it feels like it was a week ago. I will say, when we reflect back on this game, this is going to be a sort of where were you situation when game 3 of the Dodgers and Blue Jays went 18 innings. The amount of future Hall of Famers playing in this game, not only the younger guys who you think could eventually get there, guys like a Vlad. I mean, Max Scherzer started the game for the Toronto Blue Jays. He is a first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. And then you got Clayton effing Kershaw coming in with the bases loaded to get that out. I mean, that could have been realistically the last pitch of Clayton Kershaw's career. He is very well documented. Retiring after the season has been used sparingly. What a moment when they flashed to Kershaw's wife in the stands. That was the most incredible. I was praying that Kershaw didn't
Me too.
give it up because I was like,
Me
this
too.
simply cannot be how his legacy ends. But what I will say is that was just amazing. And if the Dodgers do find themselves in a situation where they are about to win the World Series, can they put Clayton Kershaw in the game? Because that just feels like it'd be fitting to let him get the last out.
I mean, honestly, like even Joe Davis said something like how is the last chapter in his book going to end kind of thing. And I was like, that really is I was almost like biting my nails for him, like I felt really nervous. And honestly, like for any pitcher, that was a brutal situation to walk into. I think it was bases loaded, 2 outs. The guy was nails. I mean, that was a really, really tough, high pressure situation. And he handled it like the pro that he is. It was great. You also mentioned Yamamoto. Let's take a beat on that for a second. I need everyone to understand something, which you all know, unless you were at the game and then you'll know soon. But if you're watching on TV, you know that Yamamoto volunteered himself. Talk about a likable human being, okay?
Talk about a superhuman. I mean, like, the guy's arm has to hurt. He threw 105 pitches complete game in game 2. That's why I said Blake Snell. All right, Blake Snell's already got, or at least has another day of rest in him. Yamamoto volunteering himself for that is so insane. I can't even begin to wrap my mind around it. And then let's talk about just another pitching situation here. The fact that Shohei Ohtani is going to get out there in what? uh, 15, 16 hours at this point. He is the starting pitcher in game 4. I saw Curt Schilling, because Twitter never has a better time than during these types of sporting event
Hmm.
experiences. Curt Schilling on Twitter was being like, a pitcher's brain right now is like, Ohtani's up there, he's on base for the 8th time, he's doing whatever, he's in the game. And Shane Bieber is going to pitch for the Blue Jays tomorrow. And he was like, Bieber's probably back at the hotel asleep, which I have no idea if that's true. But obviously, teams often send their future starter to like go get more rest, travel ahead of the team, whatever. And I thought that was a really interesting point by Schilling though, because regardless, right, Bieber's not playing in this game. So regardless, Ohtani's out there running around the base paths and he's going to be starting game 4 in like 2 hours at this point.
He was like, I'm gonna go, like I heard in the post game interview, he's like, I'm gonna go get as much sleep as possible and try to be in bed early. Like,
As
no
possible.
kidding. No kidding, I'm gonna try and do that too. If they interviewed me, I would have said the same thing, but I don't have to pitch in a World Series game. So good luck to him. Speaking of pitchers, let's talk about a man named Will Klein.
Oh my God.
We shan't forget. 4 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Remember this man when you think about the 18 inning game, okay?
Joe Davis started, I think Joe Davis and Smoltz just like hit another stratosphere at some point, which you'd have to if you were calling this game. You got two for the price of one, right? Double game, 18 innings.
Yep.
Joe Davis, when Will Klein left the game in the last inning that he pitched, I just thought his storytelling of it was so remarkable. He started to be like, this is a game that Klein is going to remember for the rest of his life, no matter what. And it's so true. I believe he said prior to this, the most he had pitched in a game was something like 30 or 36 pitches. He went out there and threw 72 pitches tonight, didn't blink an eye. I mean, the defense was impeccable. He was like catching line drives, hit right back at him. Will Klein just single-handedly did more for the Dodgers than they ever could have asked for. If the Dodgers go on to win this World Series, Will Klein almost certainly will not win World Series MVP, but he should.
He should be remembered. I think when you think back on if the Dodgers do win the World Series, you're going to think about this game 3. And he was just a big part of it, man. This is a guy who hasn't really cemented his legacy. And also, I thought it was interesting. Joe Davis kind of said no matter what Will Klein does after this, everyone's going to remember him from this game. Like this
Yeah.
very well could be one of those moments. Who knows? He could end up being an okay pitcher for the rest of his career, and still people are going to be like, remember what Will Klein did in game 3. That's what's cool about sports. A moment like this, you know what I mean? On a Monday night, on a Tuesday morning, people remember. And people will remember what he did forever. It is not easy to go out there, especially in extras. Like it was almost like so much time had passed that he wasn't even feeling the pressure. That's really how it felt.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you didn't know Will Klein before, you obviously do now. You obviously will remember him, whether you're a Dodgers fan, a baseball fan. Also, can we just point out the distinct irony of this game, which is why baseball for the fifth time is so beautiful, why sports are so beautiful? The whole thing here was that the Dodgers bullpen, both of these two teams, you get to the bullpen, it's a problem. The Dodgers more so. Those two bullpens just pitched how many scoreless innings? I mean, over 10. It's insane to like have all this build up being like the Dodgers bullpen is the problem and then this is what happens and they end up pulling out the win. It's so crazy.
You're right. The last note I'll say is I was thinking about this recently. When you're thinking about a guy like Yamamoto, the amount that he's pitching, but really all of these Dodgers starters and how deep into games they are able to go. I earnestly thought in my head this week, if the Mets had one of those guys, they would have been in the playoffs,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, I agree.
to have several players like that, where even if your bullpen is a problem, you just sometimes don't even use them. I'm not sure what else you can even ask for. So I listen, at this point, you could lock it in. You and I both decided, at the beginning of the series that the Dodgers were going to win the World Series. Toronto put up a damn good fight. And that's not me saying it's over. I'm even just saying compared to even, the Mets series against the Dodgers last year, the Yankees and the Dodgers last year, like the Blue Jays hung in and continue to hang in and make it really hard for the Dodgers to win. But it really just doesn't matter. Like the way that I see it, this Los Angeles Dodgers team is just inevitable.
Yeah, I think inevitable is such a good word. I mean, I'm not saying it's completely over for the Blue Jays, but I stand by what I said. It felt like whoever came out on top of this game three has to win the series because they just overcame so much. They just came out on top of that. It felt like game seven for 18 innings. I don't know how you overcome that feeling now if you're the Blue Jays, not to even mention game four tomorrow is going to be a scene. Everybody's tired. Nobody has any pitchers available, and that's going to be the case on both sides. So that's not just a Blue Jays problem. But yeah, what an incredible night. All I have left to say is I am so glad. Obviously, we are Mets fans and we will continue to reiterate that. But this Dodgers Blue Jays World Series is such a fantastic matchup just for baseball, right? You see people all over your timeline tonight, all over friends texting you that are staying up until 2, 3 a.m. on the East Coast to watch this game. I think people are really into this World Series. I think it's great to see Canada be so into it. And I think it's just a matchup between two really great teams, right? These teams are a good matchup for each other in the way that they're just battling. They're matched up really well and everything's coming down to the wire. This series was tied before this and this game tied for so long. I'm so excited to see how it ends. And honestly, I don't think the Blue Jays are going to lay down and die. I still stick by what I said. I do think the Dodgers are going to win. I also think this series is going back to Toronto and we will see a game 6 or 7.
Okay, we'll see about it. Well, listen, thank you so much, everyone, as always, for joining us. We really hope you appreciate these episodes. Be sure to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. It really helps us out when you do that. And God damn it, we will see you back here when the next big thing happens. Have a great night.
Good night or good morning or whatever it is where you are.